I'm David McLoughlin, and I fulfil the role of Chief Executive of Wexford Festival Trust, which encompasses primarily Wexford Festival Opera, but also Wexford Opera House. It's been very interesting, and in fact, in many ways, it's like one of these things in a blink of an eye. It's suddenly 7 years later. Certainly, I came down here, you could say, as an opera debutante, but certainly at this stage, I'd be a fan. I often think with opera as well, you don't necessarily need to be a huge opera buff. You don't necessarily need to be somebody who has seen every opera ever composed or been to every opera house in the world or whatever it might be. But I think once you have an appreciation for great performances and art forms that are done to the highest possible production standards, then opera is a great art form. And the one about Wexford, which I've always said, is we may not necessarily have a huge amount of money, and certainly by international standards we have very little money, but the one thing Wexford has always done is whatever money has had, it always puts it on the stage, and that's what always has been prioritised, and that is the great thing about Wexford. I mean, the festival, I suppose, like with any event, it does create within everyone, and certainly within myself, a sense of adrenaline, obviously, and I think with all these things you can live off adrenaline for a certain length of time. I think when the festival's over, there is that sort of downer effect that does hit in. And in a way, that's not even so much a physical thing. I think in a way it's almost a psychological thing, because certainly I remember now going back to the last 7 years, the Monday after the festival was over, the whole town seems a different place. It's not quite a ghost town, but it's certainly an awful lot quieter. The arts have all left, the audiences have all left. It's almost like a circus leaving town, and you can just sort of see the last of the wagons leaving. Here is this amazing internationally recognised event. In fact, an event that's actually even more recognised abroad than it is in Ireland. That was created by the community, and it's a community that not only founded it but kept it going for so many years and still keeps it going. For the first 38 years there wasn't even one single paid staff member, and we still have this amazing core of volunteers that keep the whole organisation going. I think that is actually quite phenomenal, and I think in many ways when you think about the fact that back in 1950s Ireland, 1951 Ireland, not just Wexford but Ireland generally, it was a very depressed society and economy and everything like that. So the fact that you had this community in rural Ireland who, with probably very little resources, came up with this amazing idea to basically set up an opera festival. I mean, it is fantastic. It's almost like a fairy tale in many ways. And the fact it happened and the fact it's kept going for so many years, that whole sense of community pride and community ownership in the festival and in the Opera House as well, Tír Royal as it was then, I think that really struck me as being something that was kind of very unique. And I've often said that in many ways that even if the Opera Festival, as it currently is, in terms of its artistic repertoire and its artists and the quality of its performances, if that was anywhere else other than Wexford, it would die. And therefore I kind of realised, well look, there's something very special about Wexford from that point of view. And here I am 7 years later and 3 kids born in Wexford later. So I kind of feel that maybe I'm a half-adopted Wexford person, although I never really be a fully adopted Wexford person until I get the accent. But 3 of my 5 kids now are developing very nice, strong Wexford accents. That should help, The whole sense of not just, obviously, the performances and the productions and the discovery of new artists and rare works, that's obviously very important, but it's far more than that. It's the whole sense of feeling part of a family, and I think that's the one thing that Wexford has brilliantly created over the years. It is different, and I think that's the reason why, as I said, if it was just the quality performances, yeah, great, people come back, but I think it's more than that. There's something much more kind of all-encompassing about coming to Wexford. I think all of our visitors feel a sense of ownership as well, and I think they really like that. I think they feel that, they're not just attending something, they're actually part of something. I think my overall emotion after 7 years was to wrap it up into one word or two. I think one would be pride. I think the other would be challenged, but I think overall feeling really rewarded. And I think, it has been, and I hope will continue for the time being, to be an absolutely unique experience for me. And one that I really feel hugely fortunate to be given the opportunity to do.